Hi, I'm Deb Engel, and I have an interesting question for you today. The question is this: have you ever wished that you could have superpowers? I'm talking about the superpowers like the ones that our comic book heroes and movie heroes have, like X-ray vision, or the ability to read people's minds, the ability to heal, or even the feeling that you are invincible, that nothing or no one can hurt you. Well, there's a teaching in A Course in Miracles that honestly makes it possible for us to have these superpowers, not in a comic book kind of way, but truly in real life. If you imagine what it would be like to wake up every morning feeling like you are truly peaceful and relaxed, knowing that you don't have to worry about the day to come, that you don't have to think about the pressures of the deadlines that you have, maybe that you're waking up without any regret or remorse about a conversation or an argument that you had the day before, and that you are not thinking about what's going to be happening 2 days from now or 2 years from now, that you don't have to control your life or try to make it work. That alone would feel like a superpower, I'm thinking. I know it would for me. Well, the teaching in A Course in Miracles that truly makes this possible is that the Course talks about how we can see with the eyes of God and we can think with the mind of God. Now, that may seem sacrilegious at first, because on an ego level, our egos are going to be thinking, well, who are we to believe that we can see with the eyes of God or think with his mind? But it's important to remember that A Course in Miracles teaches that we are part of God, that we are his creations, just like our children are part of us. It's not as though there's an angry, punishing God up there in the sky who's going to pass judgment on all of us. In fact, it's the opposite of that. Because we were created through and with the love of God, we are part of that divine love. And when we can see through those eyes and think with that mind, then everything changes. That's what this superpower is all about. So just think what that would mean. There's one teaching in particular in the Course that I think speaks to this so directly. There are actually many principles in the Course that affirm and that support this idea of seeing with the eyes of God. But the one that I want to mention today I think is so important. And this is a line that basically says that we have no idea of the tremendous release and peace that comes from seeing ourselves and our brothers totally without judgment. Now think of what this would mean, to see someone totally without judgment. The truth is that if we're seeing somebody for the first time or for the 100th time, we are seeing them with judgment. If we're meeting somebody for the first time, we are sizing up their hair and their height and their weight, how they talk, what their posture is, what their accent is, how old they are. We're making all sorts of assumptions based on all of those things that may or may not have any basis in fact. And if we are around somebody that we've seen 100 times, or maybe somebody that we've lived with every day for years, then it's even harder to see them for who they are, to see them in the present moment. Because now we are bringing all of our past in that relationship to how we see that person. We're seeing them based on whether they took out the trash yesterday, or whether they remembered our anniversary, or how they treated us 2 years ago, or what we think of the rest of their family. We're making all sorts of assumptions, not based on who they are, but based on our experience, our ego eyes in how we see them. And that can completely change our perception and perspective of who they are and make it something totally unrelated to the truth of who they are. The truth is that if we can see people through the eyes of spirit, then we are seeing them as the divine love, as the essence and truth that they are, without all of that baggage or without all of that body stuff that we tend to ascribe to ourselves and to one another. We are truly seeing them just as pure light. Now, that again may seem like kind of a tall order. How do we get there? Well, the thing is that when the Holy Spirit or when Spirit is seeing people that way, it means that there is nothing but love to see. That's the thing. The Holy Spirit doesn't see fear. It doesn't see bodies because that's not really who we are. It just sees the love that we are. Which means that if the ego is seeing something that you've done out of guilt, the Holy Spirit and the higher self is going to see that as just a mistake that can easily be corrected. Or if your ego is seeing maybe some sense of failure on your part, the Holy Spirit's going to look at that as a wonderful life lesson. If the ego is seeing a conflict or a problem that you have in your life, the Holy Spirit is going to see that as an opportunity for growth, because the Holy Spirit can't see anything else. There is nothing but love to see. That's the superpower of looking through the eyes of Spirit, looking through the eyes of God, and thinking with the mind of God, is that you see nothing but love. A Course in Miracles says that there are only two things, love and fear, and of those two, only love is real. So obviously God and the Holy Spirit can only see what's real, and that's what we're invited to do as well. So how do we actually get there? Well, here's something very simple that you can do starting today. And I really encourage you to do this day after day to develop a habit, because this is all about practice. It's not as though these things change overnight, but with practice, we can change not only how we think, but how we experience this world, how we experience ourselves and our relationships. So here's the very simple thing to do today. Whenever you encounter anybody, whether it's somebody that you live with, somebody that you meet at the grocery store, somebody that you pass on the street, maybe somebody that you see 2 or 3 times a month and have a brief conversation with. When you encounter that person today, I want you to stop and to truly look them in the eyes. And as you do that, really see the light in them. Let their body fall away, let any past experience with them fall away, and meet them totally without judgment. Then turn your mind and your voice over to Spirit and ask Spirit to tell you what to say to that person, how to express gratitude or affirmation or appreciation, whatever it might be. In other words, really turn yourself over to Spirit. Just take a moment to be present, to ask for your fear-based thoughts and judgments to be healed, and to see through the eyes of Spirit and to think with the mind of God instead. Then after you do it once, I want you to do it 4 more times today, so 5 times today altogether. And then moving forward, every day I want you to do that 1 more time each day. So tomorrow, 6 times, the day after 7 times, the day after that 8 times, until it just becomes a habit that when you meet anyone, you stop, you look them in the eye, you see the light in them, and you ask Spirit for what to say. This is what it means to truly live with that superpower of seeing with the eyes of God and thinking with the mind of God, and truly it will transform your experience here starting today. I hope that's helpful. Thanks so much. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch, and know that I'm wishing you a beautiful day.